What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Khamzat fires back at Ikram Aliskerov for his recent comments. During a recent interview, Ikram was asked if he'd be willing to step in on short notice to rematch Khamzat. Without hesitation, he said, "Of course. If they offered me a title fight, I'd be ready in 2 days. I don't train with weak guys either. I'm always in shape, always training, always ready. If you're an athlete with championship ambitions and you get offered a title fight, how could you say no?" Those words quickly reached Khamzat, and he didn't hold back in his response. He took to social media, blasting the media and the narrative surrounding fighters from his region. "Why do people give interviews to these idiots?" Khamzat wrote. "When I say I'll fight someone from Dagestan, it becomes an interethnic problem. But when they say they'll fight me, it's just sport. Stop being hypocritical." His reaction sparked plenty of discussion among fans online, with many pointing out how tension often builds whenever fighters from the same region are mentioned together. Khamzat's comment highlighted the double standards he feels exist when it comes to how his statements are perceived versus others. As for Ikram, he didn't appear to fire back further, keeping the focus on his own career goals and potential title aspirations. But once again, Khamzat found himself at the center of headlines, showing that even a single comment can ignite another wave of controversy in the MMA world. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Robert Whittaker calls out Sean Strickland for UFC White House. Earlier today, Whittaker revealed that he won't be competing on the upcoming UFC Sydney card in February. Fans were hoping to see him back in action on home soil, but Whittaker explained that family comes first right now. During an interview with Main Event TV from Fox Sports, he confirmed that while he's eager to fight again, the timing just doesn't line up with his personal life. Whittaker shared that his baby is due in a few weeks, and he wants to be fully present for that moment. He also mentioned that with the holidays approaching, he doesn't want to spend Christmas in training camp away from his kids. For Whittaker, family time is something he's missed a lot throughout his career, and this time he's prioritizing it. Despite stepping away from the Sydney card, Whittaker made it clear he still has his eyes set on one man, Sean Strickland. He said he's been trying to get that fight for a long time, calling it one he truly enjoys stylistically. Whittaker believes that facing Strickland would not only be a great matchup for fans, but also a fight that puts him right back into the top conversation at middleweight. When asked about the possibility of fighting at the UFC White House event, Whittaker didn't hesitate. He said, "I would love to fight Sean Strickland in front of the White House. That's going to be a monumental occasion. When are you ever going to get the chance to fight in front of the White House again?" Whittaker went on to explain that Strickland is still ranked number 3, which makes him a perfect target to climb the ladder again. He believes the matchup would be both entertaining and meaningful for his career. As for the timeline, Whittaker sounded optimistic, saying that he'd be ready once his family responsibilities settle, and that a big stage like the White House event would be an incredible setting for such a clash. It's clear that Whittaker's passion for fighting hasn't faded, but for now, he's balancing his role as a father with his pursuit of another shot at the top. And if the UFC makes it happen, a showdown between Whittaker and Strickland at the White House could be one of the most unique and historic moments in MMA history. Moving on to another news, Paddy Pimblett calls out Ilia for ducking. In a recent interview, Paddy revealed that multiple UFC fighters, including Justin Gaethje and Ilia, have not signed the contracts, leaving him waiting for an opponent. He explained that many fighters talk big behind the scenes, saying they want to fight him, but when it comes time to sign the deal, they disappear. Paddy said, "People are talking a lot behind the scenes saying, 'I want to fight him, I want to fight him,' and then when it comes time for the fight, they don't take it. So I'm sitting in limbo waiting for a fight." Paddy went on to say he thought he was going to fight Gaethje in Abu Dhabi in October, but that fell through. Now Dan Hooker is fighting Arman, and Charles Oliveira just fought Gamrot. According to Paddy, there's no one else left to fight other than Ilia, so hopefully that fight will get worked out, he said. "I think it would have been sorted by now if he had just signed the contract, but he's stalling. He's another one who talks a lot behind the scenes, but when it comes to signing, he doesn't put his name on it." Paddy then went off on Ilia, claiming that nobody would even know who he was if it wasn't for him. "Step up, Ilia. Stop being a cheat, be a man," Paddy said. He reminded everyone about the incident where Ilia allegedly tried to jump him while surrounded by 10 other people. "He tried to attack me and made himself famous off the back of my name. He thinks he's too good to fight me, but he wouldn't be where he is without me," Paddy added. Paddy continued, saying that when Ilia decided to move up to lightweight, he should have been the one to welcome him to the division. "I should have been his first fight at lightweight, but it never happened. Instead, he got gifted a title shot," Paddy said with frustration. He didn't stop there, going on to question Ilia's nationality, saying, "To be honest, lad's not Spanish. Let's just get that out there straight away. He's German. He fakes being Georgian and Spanish to get more fans, but he was born in Germany. He's a German, that's the truth." Paddy's words have once again sparked major attention online, with fans divided on whether Ilia is actually ducking or simply focused on bigger fights. Either way, Paddy made it clear that he's ready to fight and is tired of waiting for opponents who talk but never sign. Moving on to another news, Gene Silva has slammed Max Holloway after their heated exchange online. It all started when Silva called out Max to fight at the upcoming UFC White House event. However, Max didn't hold back and responded harshly, mocking Silva by saying he's still knocked out from his fight with Diego Lopez. The comment quickly went viral, drawing reactions from fans on social media, but Silva wasn't going to stay quiet. In a recent Instagram comment on the AG Fights account, he fired back at Max, writing, "Said the guy who almost died getting knocked out by Ilia and then fought for the BMF belt." His response immediately caught attention online, reigniting the tension between the two. Fans have been buzzing about the possible matchup, wondering if Silva's bold call-out could actually lead to a future fight between him and Max. Moving on to another news, Yair Rodriguez has officially undergone surgery on his left hand to fix a lingering injury that's been bothering him for quite some time. The featherweight contender had the procedure done on Tuesday and is now facing a recovery timeline of about 2 to 4 months before he can even return to light training. That means it could be a while before fans see him back inside the octagon. Shortly after the operation, Yair shared a video on Instagram with an emotional caption, saying he had tried his best to avoid surgery but eventually realized it was necessary. He wrote, "I resisted the operation, but the truth is it was no life to continue like this. All the doctors agreed that surgery was necessary, and although I wanted to wait for news to try to fight before the end of the year, it would have been in vain. I wouldn't have been able to complete camp. See you next year after we pass this stone on the way." In the video, Yair looked to be in good spirits despite being fresh out of surgery. He joked about his current condition, saying, "What's up guys? I just got this thing done. I'm still on the reinvents, so my body feels kind of fluffy." "Oh, weird!" His lighthearted tone gave fans some relief, showing that he's staying positive through the recovery process. This injury means that Yair will likely sit out the remainder of the year as he focuses on healing and rebuilding strength in his hand. Fans and fellow fighters flooded his comments with support, wishing him a speedy recovery and hoping to see him back in action in early 2026. Moving on to another news, Sean Strickland reacts to Ciryl Adesanya facing backlash. Yesterday, a video of Izzy doing what he called a Kirk shot went viral online and quickly sparked criticism from fans across social media. The clip drew plenty of attention, with many questioning his behavior and poking fun at the unusual moment. Not long after the backlash started, Sean Strickland decided to chime in with his own reaction. In classic Strickland fashion, he didn't hold back, writing, "It's a Kirk shot because my brain no work no more." His response immediately caught traction, as fans found it both hilarious and brutally honest, fitting perfectly with his usual raw and unfiltered personality. A fan then replied to Strickland's post, saying he deserves a title shot next. Strickland responded again, this time shifting the tone a bit more serious, admitting, "You know, the sad thing is I'm the only one at middleweight who can beat him. I hate to admit that, and I wish it wasn't so." His comments reignited the discussion around a potential rematch between Strickland and Izzy, reminding everyone that despite his humor, Strickland still firmly believes he's the man to dethrone Adesanya once again. Moving on to another news, the MMA community is going off on Bo Nickal for his comments about Khamzat. The controversy started after Bo appeared on the Ariel Helwani show, where he was asked what he learned from watching the Khamzat versus Duplessis fight. Bo responded by saying that wrestling works, and that if you're in the UFC, you should know how to wrestle. That simple statement was enough to reignite debate about his past remarks on Khamzat. When asked about the possibility of fighting Khamzat on the upcoming UFC White House card, Bo said, "Maybe, I don't know. I've got to win some fights first. He's the champ, he's #1, and I'm not even in the rankings. So I've got to win some fights, and we'll see what happens after that." Nickal then tried to clarify his earlier statements that many fans had interpreted as him calling Khamzat overrated. Previously, Bo had said that if he fought Khamzat, people would see there are levels to the game, even going as far as saying Khamzat's wrestling was mid or trash. Those comments instantly went viral, with fans accusing him of disrespecting one of the most feared grapplers in MMA. Now, Bo claims his words were taken out of context. He explained that when he talked about ragdolling Khamzat, he was referring to a freestyle or collegiate wrestling match, not an MMA fight. "All the comments I made about ragdolling him were in a wrestling match," he said. "If we were to do freestyle or collegiate wrestling, it's not competitive. It's not close. I've been a 3-time national champ, a world champion, and I've beaten the best guys in the world. I don't take any of that back. But in an MMA fight, that's a dogfight. That's an absolute scrap." Despite his clarification, fans weren't buying it. The MMA community flooded social media with reactions, saying his backpedaling didn't match what he originally said. One fan wrote, "That doesn't sound like you were talking about wrestling, Bo." Another commented, "He's right. It wouldn't be close. Khamzat would absolutely destroy him. Maybe Bo has a small edge in collegiate wrestling, but in MMA, Khamzat would dominate." Others mocked his explanation, saying, "Okay, but you're never going to wrestle Khamzat. If you two meet, it'll be in the octagon and he'll maul you." Another fan joked, "I'm going to start telling people I could beat Bo Nickal in badminton, and when they call me crazy, I'll say I meant only in badminton." That's basically his logic. The overall reaction was brutal, with many calling Bo delusional for suggesting he could out-wrestle or out-grapple Khamzat in any real fight scenario. One fan summed it up perfectly. "Who cares about collegiate wrestling? The wolf would out-grapple him. That's what matters." At this point, Bo's attempt to clarify things seems to have backfired, as fans doubled down, insisting insisting that Khamzat would steamroll him without question. Moving on to another news, UFC featherweight Arnold Allen revealed he was recently beaten up in a street altercation while training in Montreal. The surprising confession came during a video uploaded to his YouTube channel, where he was giving his predictions for UFC 321. Fans quickly noticed visible bruises across his face, and Allen explained the story behind them, admitting that the incident had nothing to do with training or sparring. Allen shared that the altercation happened outside a club in Montreal, and the reason it all started was simply because he didn't speak French. According to him, things escalated after a misunderstanding, and he ended up getting jumped by a few guys. In the clip, he joked about the situation, saying, "Yeah, we've got a different setup at the minute. I'm in Montreal currently training for stuff, and I got beat up in the street because I wasn't using French. Got jumped because I don't speak French, so that's what the bruises are all about." Despite the visible marks, Allen appeared in good spirits, reassuring fans that he's fine and that the injuries aren't serious. He mentioned that one of the bruises came from a head clash during the scuffle, and he laughed it off by saying it wasn't even from a hard sparring day. It was just a knuckle outside the glove, then a head clash, he added, keeping the mood light. Allen went on to say that he's still focused on training and plans to stay active on his YouTube channel, sharing more behind-the-scenes moments with fans. Toward the end of the clip, he hinted at some exciting fight news, teasing a potential matchup coming in December. For now, the British fighter seems to be recovering well and continuing his preparations despite the unexpected street brawl. Fans are hoping the bruises heal quickly and that Arnold Allen returns to the octagon soon, ready to make another statement inside the cage rather than outside it. Moving on to another news. Khamzat is beefing with a fake RDR account. Following this past weekend's UFC Vancouver card, Khamzat has been very vocal about RDR's recent performance. For those who might have missed it, RDR's corner threw in the towel after he was completely dominated by Brendan Allen. Heading into that fight, many believed RDR was next in line for a title shot, but his disappointing performance took him 2 steps back. Since the fight, Khamzat has openly called out RDR, mocking him for what he saw as quitting inside the cage. Things took an interesting turn when a fake RDR account decided to get involved. This fake profile tweeted at Khamzat, telling him to shut up, along with a photo of Khamzat dealing with health issues. Needless to say, Khamzat didn't appreciate that one bit. He quickly fired back, replying, "You better cry, baby, because you give up." The exchange quickly caught the attention of the MMA community, with many realizing that Khamzat had actually responded to a fake account. Over the years, this fake RDR profile has fooled countless people across social media, including fighters and even journalists. By pretending to be the real RDR, fans are now urging everyone, including Khamzat, to block the account once and for all. The situation has become a bit of a running joke online, as it's not the first time someone's fallen for the fake handle. Still, the back and forth between Khamzat and the imposter account stirred up plenty of buzz after the Vancouver event. In the end, while RDR deals with the fallout from his loss to Brendan Allen, Khamzat's online feud with a parody account might just be the most unexpected storyline of the week. Moving on to another news, Bo Nickal recently shared his thoughts on what might have caused RDR's poor performance in his fight against Brendan Allen at UFC Vancouver. The bout ended with RDR suffering a tough loss, and since then, fans have been debating what went wrong for the former champion. During his appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, Bo gave his honest opinion, breaking down what he thought led to RDR's struggles inside the octagon. Bo said, "That was rough. I mean, for the first 7.5 minutes, he looked amazing. He looked like a world-class, top-level fighter, someone capable of competing for a championship, but after those first few minutes, things went downhill. His conditioning just didn't hold up." Bo went on to explain that he had heard a few things before the fight that could have played a role in RDR's performance. Maybe it was a bad weight cut, maybe some illness before the fight. "You never really know what's going on behind the scenes," he added. Despite the criticism RDR has received, Bo defended him, saying that one fight doesn't define a fighter's overall ability or career. One fight doesn't really reflect how good you are as a person or as a fighter. Everyone has off nights, and I'm sure he's disappointed in his performance. "It definitely wasn't his best showing," Bo said. He described the matchup as somewhat lackluster, noting that the fight lost its intensity after RDR began to fade. Still, Bo reminded fans that this is part of the sport. "That's just how the game works," he said. He's had some big weight cuts, fought multiple times this year, and sometimes those factors pile up. Things happen that can affect the result of the fight. Bo's comments show a mix of respect and realism, acknowledging RDR's talent while also pointing out how tough the fight game can be at the elite level. Moving on to another news. Bisping recently shared his thoughts on RDR's corner stopping the fight during his loss to Brendan Allen. Speaking on the latest episode of the BYM podcast, Bisping praised RDR's coach for making the difficult but necessary decision to throw in the towel, saying the situation could have ended very badly if the fight had continued. Bisping explained that while some people might look at the stoppage and say RDR quit on the stool or that his coach quit for him, the reality is much more complex. He said, "Yeah, it's not a great look when you're that big of a name, especially when you're the main event and you get tired, but sometimes you have to protect your fighter." He emphasized that even though RDR is a top-level athlete, fatigue and damage can pile up quickly, and pushing beyond that point can lead to serious consequences. He went on to say that he respected the coach's decision, pointing out that not every coach would have had the courage to make that call. A lot of coaches wouldn't do that. Some of them want their fighter to keep going because for them, it's about pride or ego. They want their fighter's success attached to their own name, Bisping said. He added that some coaches live vicariously through their fighters, craving recognition as the person who helped shape champions, even if it means risking the fighter's well-being. In this case, however, Bisping applauded RDR's coach for putting his fighter's health first. He saw the situation clearly and said, "You know what? You're done." Because if he had gone out there again, all that would have happened is he'd get beaten badly for another 5 minutes. Maybe he gets finished, or maybe he takes such a bad beating that he never mentally recovers from it, Bisping explained. He also gave credit to Brendan Allen for his performance, admitting that he didn't expect him to win after the first round. Fair play to Brendan Allen, man. It was a tricky first round, and I honestly thought he was going to lose that fight. But he adjusted well and took control, Bisping concluded, showing respect to both sides for the professionalism they displayed that night. Moving on to another news, Ciryl Gane just sent a bold warning to Tom Aspinall, making it clear that his wrestling and grappling have improved massively and that people are seriously underestimating him. In a recent appearance, Gane revealed that he's been grinding harder than ever on what many fans have called his biggest weakness, his ground game. He admitted that his loss to Jon Jones was a major learning experience, one that forced him to reevaluate and rebuild his approach to fighting. Now he's confident that the version of himself heading into this next fight is far more dangerous and complete. The upcoming matchup between Gane and Aspinall has everyone talking, especially because of the possibility that it could go well beyond the first round. Gane has already proven multiple times that he can maintain a high pace for all 5 rounds, striking with precision and moving with elite fight IQ. Aspinall, on the other hand, has never really been pushed that far into deep waters, finishing most of his opponents early. Tom himself has acknowledged this, giving Gane credit for his slick defense, intelligent movement, and exceptional cardio, while also admitting that this could be one of his toughest tests yet. However, fans haven't forgotten that Gane's previous performance wasn't exactly dominant. He barely edged out a decision win over Alexander Volkov, a fight that many thought the Russian actually won. Despite that, Gane insists he's evolved tremendously since then, and this version of him is ready to shock everyone who doubts his grappling. During the interview, Gane said confidently, "I can do both. I can fight like a dog in the very first round, but I can also go 5 rounds. I'm not going to explain my tactic or my game plan, but whatever happens, I'll be there. I'm ready for that." He's a well-rounded fighter, but me too. Me too. When asked who would have the advantage if the fight goes to the ground, Gane didn't hesitate to respond. "People like to say I'm not good on the ground, but I've only lost once, and that was against Jon Jones. I made a mistake, but normally I don't make those mistakes. People underestimate me, but I've never been afraid to go to the ground because I know what I do during training." With that statement, Gane made it clear that he's not just coming to strike, he's coming to prove that his grappling is no longer a weakness, but a weapon.